How's it going, guys? I'm Connor, and this is the Running Warehouse Test Run Trail. We are here at Stenner Creek in San Luis Obispo, California, and today we are going to be taking it to the trails by placing 3 of our highly knowledgeable testers into 3 popular trail running models to see which trail running shoe comes out as king of the mountain. Let's head on out to the dirt to meet our testers and check out their full Test Run Trail shoe lineup. So there you have it. You met our testers, Lucas, Becky, and Liz. Each athlete has a wide variety of trail running experience, and today they will be taking on a 3-by-mile trail running segment where they will truly face the elements. Each athlete is going to be wearing their trusty Garmin Forerunner watch, which will measure all of their key performance metrics and help them stay in their ideal heart rate zones. Next on up, we are going to head on out to the course, which has been precisely measured and strategically picked to help each tester fully experience the ups and the downs of trail running. Now, today's course will start off with a smooth and flat fire road to help our runners get into a steady rhythm, but the chill effort will quickly take a turn as they hit the first downhill section. Each runner will rapidly descend into a rocky trail segment and continue through the rolling single tracks until they hit the first creek crossing, where they'll test the wet ground bite as well as the ventilation of each shoe. Finally, our testers will get a brutal check of their endurance as they make their way up a treacherous vertical ascent where they'll take a 180-degree turn and bomb back to the finish line. Our testers are just finishing up their warm-up, and then we'll have them gear up and head on out to the starting line to test out their first shoe of the day, the ASICS Trabuco Max 3.
On your mark, get set, go!
All right, trail test number 1 is in the books, and all of our testers today ran pretty strong, flowed through the trails, but it was our newcomer, Lucas, who wanted to prove himself a little bit today. You flew up the ups and bombed the downs. How did the Trabuco Max 3 perform?
I love the feel of this underneath my feet. My main takeaway for this is just that thick layer of FF Blast Plus, especially under the metatarsals and toes. That's what I appreciate the most, especially for the downhills. I love to open up the stride, which leads to some extra impact, of course, coming downhill. This has just that right amount of sink and bounce, and loved it coming downhill.
Now, Liz, you're probably the most experienced on this trail, both as a runner and a mountain biker. How did the Trabuco Max 3 perform? Was there a certain spot you felt like it excelled the most at?
Well, I also love the cushioning, and the Trabuco Max has been one of my favorite trail running shoes since its first iteration. And I think the main thing for me with this shoe is it has that perfect balance of nimbleness and protection. So it really did well on almost every single portion of this trail. But even on the slightly more narrow sections, you can still feel protected, but then not feel like you're getting bounced around too much when the trail gets a little rough.
All right, Becky, our final tester of the day, our ultramarathon specialist. I know you can get a little bit picky when it comes to the full 100-mile distance. Did the ASICS Trabuco Max 3 perform how you thought?
So it feels really good. For me, especially on the flat sections when you can get moving a little bit better, the foam is bouncy, it's soft, it's protective. I felt like the grip on it going through a creek crossing, there were no slippage issues there. The grip is really nice. The only area for me that it didn't excel as well was just on some of the more narrow sections that were a little rocky or uneven. Because there's so much cushioning underfoot, I felt like my ankle maybe was a little bit less stable. So I think it shines a lot going downhill and on the flats for me.
Yeah, well, overall, a great first trail session, but we got a lot more shoes to test. Let's head on out and try out the next shoe, the North Face Altamesa 500.
On your mark, get set, go!
All right, we just wrapped up trail test number 2. All the testers look strong and consistent, and now we have a new shoe, the North Face Altamesa 500. While still a highly cushioned shoe, it is gonna have a little bit different feel than the ASICS Trabuco Max 3. Lucas, what were your thoughts on the shoe? How did it perform?
To be perfectly honest, I have a hard time separating the two, and I mean that in a good way, just on that underfoot feeling. As important as fit is in a trail shoe, right now I'm just obsessed with the foam, and what I love about both shoes is that tall stack height of lightweight bouncy foam, and I feel really protected. I had a hard time, if I had a blindfold on, I would have a hard time separating the two so far.
Yeah. Now Liz, you continue to pace off Becky on this trail test, really being efficient. How did the shoe feel, and did it perform up to your expectations?
So I definitely agree with Lucas again. That Dream Foam is just so bouncy and comfortable, especially on the smoother sections of trail. But I disagree in terms of the similarities to the Trabuco Max in nimbleness. For me, this feels a little higher off of the ground, and I did feel like it wasn't quite as nimble on those rougher sections of trail. I also felt like that grip wasn't quite as good on that steeper section. But again, I've run on this on the road, on the way to trails in the past, and it's super smooth on the road. So I think it is still a great option for someone that's running on fire roads and smoother trails.
Now Becky, you are probably the most experienced runner in this group in the Altamesa 500. You've been racking up the miles. How did the shoe perform today, and which part of the trail do you feel like it performed the best on?
Yeah, I absolutely love this shoe. It's just such a good comfort story. There's a ton of the Dream Foam. It's soft, but you don't sink into it. I think where it really does best for me is on the less technical terrain. So I actually loved it going uphill, going downhill. I felt not quite as sure as I did in the Trabuco Max with the grip. But on the flat surfaces where it's not super rocky, it is so comfortable.
All right, 2 trail shoes down, but we still have 1 to go, the HOKA Speedgoat 6. Over the years, it's been known as the king of the mountain. Let's see if it can live up to the hype.
On your mark, get set, go!
All right, our final trail test is complete, and it wouldn't be a final repeat without having a little bit of fun. And Lucas, you took off, you flew up, and I think you came back even faster. How did the Speedgoat work for you, and do you feel like this is gonna be your trail shoe.
Yeah, I couldn't resist. I mean, that goes back to high school cross country, wanting to make the last one, the fast one, and that's, even on an easy day, sometimes it feels so good to open up the stride. And it's probably pretty clear from the way that I took off and finished out this one that I felt the most connected to this shoe and connected to the trail. Pretty clear distinction, you know, amongst this group of three. Safe to say that yeah, I liked the experience.
Now, Liz, you have quite a bit of experience in a few different versions of the Speedgoats over the years. How did version 6 compare, and what do you feel like it performed best on this trail?
So I would say this is definitely the nimblest Speedgoat that I've ever run in. It feels a little bit more connected to the ground, the grip is amazing, and it really excelled in some of that rougher terrain, and then definitely on that climb and descent. There was just so much grip. You're just like connected to that trail, and you have total confidence to bomb back down after you make that climb. I would say it definitely feels a little firm underfoot, and it wasn't as smooth and fun on the flatter sections for me as the other two shoes.
And Becky, I keep bringing this up, but you are the ultra marathoner in the group. The Speedgoat has that really good balance of lightweight with still having a high level of cushioning. How do you feel like version 6 performed, and do you think it could be a contender for an ultra marathon?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I felt the most confident in the Speedgoat today on the descents, especially the steep descent that we did about halfway through the course. It felt the best on rocky terrain. You really feel confident with where your feet are, a little bit more connected to the ground. As Liz said, it is a little bit firmer than the other shoes we wore today, and it doesn't have that same bounce back. I would potentially wear this shoe for a 50K, maybe 50 mile, but I would need to go ahead and size up with a wide width. It feels a little bit more narrow, especially near the pinky toe area for me, so I think I would just need a little bit more generous fit in order to feel confident going that longer distance.
So there you have it. We tested 3 highly popular trail running shoes on a wide variety of trail surfaces, but now the real question remains: what shoe is the ideal pick for you? Every trail runner is going to be a little bit different, has different needs. Lucas, I'll start off with you. What's going to be your top pick?
Right, yeah, it's probably not too much of a secret which one I preferred in this situation. I can always find something positive to say about any shoe, and it's really hard not to pick the Altamesa or the Trabuco Max for that cushiony comfort that they have to offer for that daily training. But the Speedgoat is bringing a different take on comfort for a number of factors for me, in the more locked in fit, the slightly lower stack, the firmer foam than the other two, and of course the amazing Vibram Mega Grip traction lugs. That's all adding up to a different kind of comfort for me, and that's the confidence that I have in placing my foot when I do want to open up the stride and send it downhill. This is the one, the Speedgoat, that I feel the most comfortable in.
Now, Liz, I know you really appreciate comfort on the trails, but you're looking at ultra marathons in the future. What's going to be your top trail pick today?
It's definitely tough. You know, the Speedgoat is going to be maybe the shoe I would choose for more technical terrain. The Altamesa is definitely a great option in terms of that really soft cushioning, but I'm going to stay with the Trabuco Max as my top pick. It's still my all-time favorite. It's got a bit roomier fit than the Speedgoat, so I have that comfort for long miles. That foam is soft and bouncy, and it has that smoothness that can transition from the road to the trail, and then still just nimble enough for the more technical terrain as well. So that's gonna be my pick.
All right, Becky, you are our final tester of the day, and really the wild card. I know you really enjoyed all 3 of the shoes. What's gonna be your pick for your ideal trail preferences?
Yeah, so I put a lot of miles in all 3 of these and have enjoyed them all for different reasons. But for me, the Altamesa 500 is one of the shoes that every Saturday or Sunday I am going back to and picking over and over for long runs, 20, 30 miles in them, and they're just so comfortable. They get the job done, especially on most California trails here. It's not super technical, and it has enough grip for what I need, but it's just so comfortable, it can't be beat.
Wow, so 3 different testers, 3 different shoes. I think that just goes to show that every trail runner has their own unique preferences when it comes to grip, cushioning, and fit. And really, you gotta get out on the trails and try the shoes to find out what is best for you. Good news is, if you're looking to try out any of the trail shoes you saw today, you can find them here at Running Warehouse.